Recording
people,
in progress.
167 and counting. While we're waiting for people to join, feel free to either scan this QR code or enter in the link here. Amanda's going to be dropping it in the chat. We will be raffling off a free entry into our PM bootcamp coming up in a couple weeks, or I guess in a week from today. And so it costs nothing. You just sign up for the giveaway, and then if you don't get it, great. There's always more events, or you can sign up for the bootcamp yourself. Okay, well, I hope everyone is in the right place. If not, this is better. We're at the product management panel, strategies for a competitive application. We have three incredible hosts. So we'll jump into intros in a second. You can hear more about them. A few ground rules before we get started on the event. First, you can ask questions in the chat. Me or the panelists will be responding to those. Also, if we can, we'll try to pull your questions into the live conversation. Second, be respectful of people. And then third, you will get access to the recordings, but you need to sign up for Leland. Amanda will be dropping links where you'll get access. Okay, quick agenda. We'll start with some welcome and introductions, then we'll jump right into the panel. That's going to be the majority of this meeting, and then we'll do a final word at the end where you will have access to the coaches' profiles. There will also be a link to reach out to the Leland kind of coach matching team to help you find the right coach for you. Okay, let's jump right into intros. I'm Mike. I do product at Leland, and so I am involved in product management events. We also have Amanda from the Leland team who will be posting a bunch of relevant links in chat. Now let's jump into the panelists. So Melody, why don't we start with you and Christian Yash, we can just follow the order on the screen. And just very quickly before Melody goes, I've actually used Melody as a coach a couple of times now, and so this is fun for me as one of her mentees. So, okay, I'll pass it to you and you can do an intro.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Hi, everyone. My name's Melody. Love the Leland community and being able to see you guys in this meeting. And I come from a technical background. Really started PMing about 10 years ago at a big company called Oracle in the Bay Area.
Whoa.
Got really bored and then joined two enterprise SaaS startups as head of product for a few years. Really enjoyed kind of the joy and challenge navigating product market fit of an early stage startup. I'm passionate about education as a social cause. I've run nonprofits, been a professional coach and mentor for people as personal and professional growth. And for the same reason, I joined Coursera to lead the hands-on learning experience team as a PMIC, and fortunately enough to kind of grow my career there, transitioning from IC to manager, and eventually lead all the learner-facing product teams at Coursera, and also kind of led our IC hiring at Coursera. So kind of got into the deep end of thinking about how to find high quality candidates among the PM pools out there, and thinking about how to hire fairly, and really happy I can kind of share some of that insights with all of you and with the Leland community to stand out. I'll put it on to Christian.
Hey, thanks, Molly. My name's Christian. I come from kind of I guess you could say, a diverse background. I started out in medical school from undergrad. I did a pivot out of that because I got into startups. It was like a health tech startup. Medical school to me was a little bit too regimented. They kind of borrow your mind for like a really, really long time. And so I like to kind of have freedom of mind. So it's kind of a natural pivot for me to go right into health tech startups. And then I worked for a contract resource organization doing M&A and implementation, so like post-close on software, things like that. That was kind of my first exposure, I guess you could say, to anything kind of product related, because we acquired the software and then we did like implementation, and so I had to do like product strategy and things like that. Then I ended up doing venture work at Rock Health. which is covered in that line item. And then I did an MBA, so I'm one of the people that did like an MBA and then pivoted into, you could say, PM proper, which is where I am now at LinkedIn. And at LinkedIn, I've worked on two teams. I've worked on the jobs marketplace, which is what a lot of you guys actually interact with because you guys are the job seekers. And then I work on the ads marketplace. I'm local to the Bay. I was born and raised in Napa, if you guys are familiar with Napa. And then kind of like free time stuff. I like to like play music and write and things like that. So kind of I always have like the artistic bug, but yeah, it's a little bit about me. On to Yash.
Thanks, Christian and Melody, and so much shared background with all of us. So I'm Yash. I kind of like Christian started in college. I was pre-med and studied biochemistry and realized that I didn't want to not have an income for 10 years. And yeah, then I switched to consulting and worked at a company called Bain and Company,
Whoa.
which was great, but I felt like I don't know, I just wasn't really meaningfully contributing to the world. Um, and so then I made a switch to startups and have always been really passionate about mental health. And so I worked at a company called Talkspace, and I was actually the chief of staff there, and helped take them public. And then I kind of got bored of that and wanted to really, I didn't really know what product was, and saw that product was the center of the company, and sort of everything else seemed to interact with product. So I wanted to get curious about that and actually build stuff. So shifted to product there, and then really liked it, and went to another couple $1 billion mental health marketplace called ThriveWorks, where I was the head of B2B product. And actually now I do fractional product work, and I'm also an executive and leadership coach. So I blend, I guess I do a mix of those things. So Melody, we need to talk. That's a little bit
Yeah, come on, Melody,
about me
talk to that guy.
professionally. I am not technical. I haven't come from a technical background, and have really focused my career on the mental health and just like marketplaces more generally. So I know a lot about that. I live in Austin, Texas. Outside of work, I'm also pretty creative. I like to draw, write. That's a little about me. I have a dog.
That's great. Thank you for the intros, everyone. Yash, I've never heard your background before, so it's fun hearing you lay it out. When Leland's ready to move into B2B and everyone's universities is paying for coaching for everyone, I guess I'll need to get some coaching from you to help Leland move into B2B. That's great.
Yeah, I guess you will.
Okay, well, we'd love to hear about you. So if you can, write where are you working or studying and what's your current favorite product? And you can drop that in the chat. This is usually one of my favorite parts. And so, yeah, feel free to drop that in the chat. We'll start to see those coming through. While you're typing those in, we'll move on. Many of you have already attended Leland events. For some of you, this may be your first one. So a very quick overview of what Leland is and what it does. First, we are primarily a place where you can interact with experts, like the experts you see on the panel today. And you can get personalized one-on-one coaching from them. Second, and this is a newer but very popular content offering where we have cohort-based courses related to a specific topic. Later, we'll be talking about the Break Into Product Management Bootcamp that we're running, where several of the coaches on Leland will be teaching different parts of the product recruiting process, anywhere from how to run a case interview to like best strategies to even get the interview in the first place. And then finally, we have a content library called Leland Plus, where the 1,200 plus coaches on Leland have uploaded relevant content, whether that's example resumes, cover letters, or example take-homes, or it can even be more broad, like video series of how to run like the Bain interview. And so you can subscribe to the Leland Plus library and get access to all of the content that's hosted there. Great. I guess it's very important to recognize that Leland is working. Every year we have tens of thousands of people who use Leland to get their dream jobs or get into their dream schools. I am a former Leland customer myself and now coach on Leland, and I've had dozens of successful customers who've gotten uh, roles at incredible companies like Google and Facebook and Meta. And so, yeah, our goal is to help you achieve your dreams. And product management is one of our most popular categories, and so you can really get help with anything related to the product management recruiting process. Okay, well, let's jump right into the panel. Why don't we do similar to the intros? You already talked about this a little bit, so maybe we can do a more expedited version, but would love to hear, we can just go the same order of Melody, Christian, Yash. But tell us very specifically, how did you land your role in product, and also like why product fit for you?
Yeah, well, flashbacks. Many years ago, I was at Oracle, and my first job was actually in program management. So it's a bit more like project management, and it's about the how more than the what and why, right? In building products. So at that time, what I realized is like I have a deep interest in the what and why. Like I love learning about the problems my product will be able to solve, figuring out why, figuring out business strategy, in addition to working with engineers to deliver them efficiently. So at that time, it was like product management was like not as big of a topic, and I feel like I didn't have enough of a resource to kind of do proper research, but I was very, very fortunate to get to know actually a startup founder who knows other startup founders, and then introduced me to this early stage startup doing marketing tech backed by A6 and Z, which is a tech piece in the Valley, and be like, okay, they are hiring a first PM, and are you interested? And what I find out from my experience that's applicable to some of the mentees is that a lot of the startups, when they hire, they don't necessarily look exactly for big numbers, big names, big brands. They do focus a lot on what you've actually done, your overall like soft skills and your ambition and your interest, your drive. So it's a little bit more opportunistic. It's less transparent or accessible than some of the bigger tech PM roles out there. But don't give up hopes. And I think, yeah, once you find a startup, I actually really was really thankful to the founders who brought me on board. And I was basically learning how to do product management on the job with the founders. And that was one of the best experiences in my PM history so far.
Great. Thank you. Christian, take it away.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned I was in the product strategy kind of capacity in that M&A role. So this was around like 2019, and I knew that I was kind of flirting with that. I was kind of flirting with there in finance, and I was sort of on this bifurcated path a little bit. It was either going to be VC or product. And I did work in VC, obviously, as you saw, but the kind of, when I was an incumbent MBA student, I had that, I kind of came in with both tracks, and it helped to have, obviously, venture experience, but it was interesting because on the product front, they actually appreciated some of the diversity of experience. While I did have kind of a lateral experience with product itself, it was even more lateral to have, let's say, like the venture experience on there. I had some research experience prior. It was interesting because LinkedIn specifically, one of their criteria that they liked was like startup entrepreneurship or venture experience. And that was, I interviewed for several other companies, and a couple of those criteria were also on their list. So I found that pretty in sync with some of the things I did, and I think that there was kind of a match there from kind of a mindset standpoint, but also, kind of, again, some of the things that you're producing at these companies is quite similar. In the structure of product, you have like the product requirements documentation, but even like on the product strategy side or on venture, you have like market theses and things like this. So you're kind of putting together pretty like cross-referenced and collaborative documents, and you're making recommendations and inferences and things like that. So kind of reading between the lines. I will say too, on the MBA, it's nice that they kind of have like a recruitment funnel. So that was kind of a nice way to like kind of see the jobs line up. But I will say this: when you go to the MBA, you really want to. It's not as, especially pivoting into something like product. It's not something that you can just like kind of walk in and expect to get. It's the same things for other fields. Like if some people are in like private equity and things like that. These are kind of hard fields to kind of just like walk into if you don't have the prior experience. So really, I think an important kind of takeaway here is like kind of weaving and tying together your story. Kind of like what's applicable from your prior experience, and then also like utilizing your resources, which again was the recruitment funnel that we had. But regardless, it was still obviously a competitive process. So on to
Yeah, that's great. Maybe before, just one thing I'll comment. Almost every time we do these events, people will comment on like, I'm 2 or 3 years into my career. Is it too late for me to break into product? And I think it's cool that all of you kind of have a similar story of like product was not your very first job and you kind of found your way into it over time. I think sometimes that's a superpower in that you have a very unique skill set going in, tangential to product, which is interesting. Great. Okay, Yash, take it away.
Yeah, it's a great point, Mike. And one of the things that I just wanted to have, I had no idea what product management was when I was in college. Like, no one really talked about it. There may have been a class that tangentially referenced it. Yeah, so for me, I didn't really know what product was. I knew that I liked problem solving, and actually, for me, I think I got very lucky that I worked at a tech startup that had a pretty like big sort of standard software product management function, and worked closely with the PM there. The team that I was on was very small. And it just really, he had a very interesting definition of product that I still think is the best definition of product, that product managers are problem solvers first. And I love problem solving. Like I've always loved like Legos as a kid and like tinkering with things, and just felt like tinkering with things. So for me, like I actually did an internal transfer at the company and just building a relationship with the head of product there, and he was really overworked, and as we grew, we like 10x the size of the B2B segment, and he was like the only PM, and so there was just a natural invitation and like asking to like, hey, can I help you out with this? And I actually started a hybrid. It was called product operations, so it was a mix of product strategy and ops work. And then the more I did that, the more it was like, hey, there's so much work for us to build, that it just kind of naturally became a sort of like a junior PM role, and then I transitioned out into another company once I had it.
That's so great. Really appreciate all three of you sharing your experience. It's so fun to hear all the different backgrounds. I think that's one of my favorite things about product is there's not like a set, you do this, and then you get into this, and then you do this. It's so fluid. Okay, well, why don't we start with you, Christian? I know you kind of like went through the MBA recruiting process. So, and you did mention how competitive these roles are. So product management roles are extremely competitive. What can someone do to differentiate themselves in the PM recruiting process? And then Melody, Yash, if you have anything you'd like to add, feel free to come off mute.
Yeah, I think maybe similar to what Yash was kind of alluding to, because going from the product strategy thing, like I said, I was open to opportunities that weren't just product management. I think it's really about, so you do the skill synthesis stuff I mentioned, but making sure you can demonstrate when the time is right, I think is really it. Because it's kind of like anything in a market. There's so much timing involved in it. I'm sure one time or two, several people on the call, you felt like you were in the right place at the right time before, at some event in your life. Well, I think people, there's a tendency to like they'll prepare a lot for interviews and things like that, which is crucial. But it's like call it like the pudding, if you will. You want to be able to have like the pudding and display that proof to people. So like if it comes down to like if you're writing line items on your resume, like you know SQL and you can run queries. And you've done data analysis, and you throw these numbers in that might have been from your old business, and these OKRs. You want to make sure that you can like not only tell those stories, but if you had to, you got to think a step further. Like, how do you demonstrate that you have those skills? And it's not that you're gonna get some kind of test in TensorFlow or SQL or something, but it's the idea that you know how that works integratively, and then you can apply that kind of to like your entire story. Because I think again, when the preparation is like crucial. If you don't prepare, then you can't obviously land the interviews and things like that. But once the interview lands and you're in the right place at the right time, some people are caught off guard because they're like, oh my goodness, like I actually have to like say stuff now, and I actually have to like demonstrate my worth now. So I think like differentiation kind of happens the more integrated and in depth the content well before you have to interview. And I would say, because again, even in my MBA experience, I was ready to recruit early. And I kind of had the summer prior, I was like really buckling down and kind of over buckling down in a sense. Like I had to like take myself out of like, kind of other opportunities or fun stuff. Right. But it was to make sure that I was ready for early recruiting. And then by the time early recruiting came around, I feel like I was pretty well prepared. So I would say just early homework early and make sure you know the intricacies early rather than waiting until you get the opportunity to interview. So
Yeah, we see that all the time where people are like, oh, I'm interested in product. I'm gonna wait till I get interviews to start preparing, and then suddenly they realize they have all of these difficult case interviews ahead of them. They're like, I don't even know what to talk about. I don't know if I have good stories. I don't have the frameworks to answer the questions. That's great. Melody, Yash, anything you would add here?
Yeah, that's a great summary, Christian, on like how do you stand out when you first get your first PM job. For those of you who may have a few years work experience or PM experience, I always think about finding a job just like how you build a product. What I mean by that is you don't build a product for everyone, right? You find a specific set of persona, target customers, you understand their problems, you design a solution to solve the problems that's better than your competitors or existing solutions. So from that lens, when you think about yourself, not a product, but to be honest, you're a talent on the market, solving problems for employers in a role, right? So from that lens, like I think I would really understand what's your skill set, what's your unique, your strength, your superpowers that you noticed between you and maybe your fellow coworkers. And then think about what are the top trending hires or markets or companies that need that have problems to solve that would require these skills. So what I mean by that is, for example, when I first started, I wasn't the perfect fit for large company, maybe PM, IC roles, but I was pretty good fit for startup PM because I just like have a lot of startup PM experience, right? Or like I have this drive of doing 0 to 1 in a very rough way, right? Versus trying to plan how to coordinate with different teams. So in that sense, I think like just starting to find your niche that not only helps you really sharpen and be very intentional about where you play in the job market, and it often correlates with how happy you will be in that job because you were intentional, because you actually are good at these things, and probably also because you're passionate or you actually love doing the specific type of work, be it in a specific industry like healthcare or mental health, right? Or in a specific type of size of company, like a 0 to 1 phase or early stage startup or a large company where you can impact a lot more people. Yeah, so I would really think through that, define maybe not PMF, but like the job to talent fit for yourself. Have some hypotheses, test them out through talking through interviews. And I'm sure you'll find a perfect role that just the right fit for you.
It's so great. I had a client a couple years ago who actually similar to Yash and Christian was pre-med, was ready to go to medical school and then said, wait, actually I want to do product. How can I make this shift? And exactly what you're describing, Melody, realized that where she could really stand out was like a health tech startup, where her medical experience was actually an advantage and that she knew a ton about the market and had a very successful recruiting process because she targeted the right companies for her. Really, really insightful. Okay, for the sake of time, let's move on. Yash, we'll pass it to you on this one. Uh, what are the skills people should be thinking about developing as they prepare for PM recruiting?
Yeah, I love this question because I think there's so many myths around what product management is, and a lot of them are just wrong. So I'll just cover some of them really quickly. That product managers are the CEO of the product. I don't like this definition because I think it oversimplifies the role and ignores how collaborative product management is. And also, like, CEOs are generally very strategic. Most PMs are actually really executional. And so there's a big difference between these roles. Yeah, I think there's all these other things that you might hear, like you need to be technical, you need to be agile certified, you know, what all these different things like sprints and Scrum and Kanban are. All of that is kind of myth, actually. And really what PMs do, in my view, perhaps a little reductionist though, is that they're strategic problem solvers. They they understand design thinking, they understand influence, and they're collaborative. That's what PMs do. And so if you kind of put that into three buckets, there's user experience, like understanding your users and what their needs are. There's business goals, so understanding how the work you do relates to the broader context of the business. And then there's technical feasibility, and this is software product management. Like I don't know much about hardware. I'm sure there's probably still a technical feasibility question, but that is like can how long will it take to build what we want to build? How much resourcing will it take? And you're really triangulating across those three things. So within each bucket, so then user experience, right? Really, this is like communication. There's analytics, right? Like understanding, looking at data and being able to draw insight out of it. What do people care about? Why do they care about it? And what do they want? And then making decision making with imperfect data. That's really, I think, some core skills in that area. In terms of business goals, it's strategy, communication, influence, and prioritization. So how do you communicate what you're going to do, receive input from other people, influence their decision making, and then prioritize what you're going to do? And then in technical feasibility, this one's interesting because it certainly depends on the product that you're working on, and what part of that product you're working on. But I think there's a myth that you basically need to know how to code or be a software engineer or be a product manager. It's really not the case in my experience, especially if you have strong technical partners. So it's really more of a communication to be able to know enough to understand trade-offs between different decisions, to manage conflict. This is a big thing that PMs do, and again, to prioritize. So there was a lot in there, but these three buckets, like how do you understand what a user wants? How do you understand the goals of a business and communicate those user needs within the context of the business? And then if you're going to build something, how do you understand the trade-offs involved in building that?
Yeah, that's so good. I know we're a little short on time, but I want to touch on this a little bit more. Melody, Christian, feel free to jump in as well. But I'm curious, so I think you nailed it in as far as like these are generally what are the skills people need to learn. But let's say I'm starting from ground zero. I want to break into product. I realize I need to get better at communicating and understanding user problems. What do I do to even develop those skills?
Yeah, great question, Mike. My hot take on this is with the advent of like AI tools, especially like if you've heard of vibe coding, you can literally like type into a chat box and it's like an AI thing will build a product for you. Like, go actually solve a user need. Right? This is going to demonstrate to an interviewer, to other people, to yourself that you can actually go build something that people use. So product management, it's not about coding. It's not about learning Udemy and getting certified in what agile means. It's about solving a user need, and then being able to track the impact of that.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Um, a couple stories I like to share are I once had a client who they started an Etsy shop and they had like zero PM experience, but they sold like $30,000 worth of t-shirts. And that was like the best possible PM experience they could have. Even though they didn't build a product, there was like nothing agile about it. But it was like, I know how to find a hole in the market and how to address that hole. And I've had like several friends, so that's a similar story of like they break into product with like a baseball company or like whatever random product they can do to prove that they're good at it. That's great thoughts. Anything, Melody, Christian, that you'd add? If not, we can move on. Okay. Well, I know a lot of people here feel really nervous about the interviews. They may have done a mock interview and they know it's hard, or they just know that they're hard and don't even know what the process entails. So, Christian, why don't, actually, Melody, let's start with you. Christian, we can have you do the next question. But, yeah, how should people go about preparing for PM interviews?
Obviously there are different stages until you can get an offer, and there are like different stuff you have to prepare for these different stages. So like, let's say starting from getting interviews, so preparing a good resume, to nailing some of the earlier rounds where you would talk a little more about your background, your experience, why you could be a good fit for this role, to the late stage that's more around that you will typically see more product cases, basically solving a product problems or product strategy problems on the fly, or doing more complex demonstration of an example to a panel. So I would say, like, if you are just getting started, just really focus on the first two. So getting really good at understanding each of your own background and experience and each bullet point on your resume, why it is important to stay there on your resume. Why is it important for a hiring manager to see it? And typically what I see is a lot of us are really good at talking about what we did, but didn't do enough to talk about what's the impact of our actions. So that is talk a lot about I developed a roadmap, I launched a product, which all are great work, and that's probably 90% of the time we spend on. But what hiring managers and recruiters wanted to see is the so what, right? Like, what's the metrics? What's the measurable impact you've done from your product launch? And that impact could be broken down into usage, what's the value for the customers, and what's the value for the business. So, like, being really thoughtful around how do you present the impact and write it out in a very measurable and understandable way, in a specific way on your resume. That can help really flash out some of the impact stories you have. And some of the softer things, like you've helped contribute to team culture, drove processes, or improved collaboration. Focus on things that are measurable as the outcome, like 2x developer velocity, or you've led project with 50 engineers or involved 12 teams. So really getting these specifics and think hard of what skills and capabilities am I demonstrating from each of that bullet point. I think typically would help you nail that first phase of telling the story about your background in the interview or on paper on a resume.
It's great. Yeah. I think I've heard that advice so many times, and it's sometimes so hard to do, to like actually figure out what is the impact of what I'm doing. It's really easy to get caught up in the here's what I did.
And one thing I find, maybe just to add really quickly, one thing I find really helpful in working with my clients, they all do a really good job if they were talking to me. They do a really good job talking about their experience, but when they start writing on paper, they miss like all the critical details. So I find it pretty helpful to just like maybe use an AI, just talk to them. Like talk to them multiple times and then see the transcript and let the AI summarize what are the key impact that stood out to you or something like that. Or you can or just by just rereading your own transcript, you can probably get some of the bigger highlights out on your resume.
That's great. Yeah. Being able to talk to AI has been such a life changer for me. It's so good. Okay, we're going to talk about the PM Bootcamp, like I promised earlier, very quickly. Many of you will have already heard about this, for some it's new. Basically what we found is in certain career paths, product management being a great example of this, there is actually like it's a very competitive process and a process in which you need to develop certain skills. For example, some of these like product design interviews, they will have you, they'll give you a prompt like go improve YouTube or design an alarm clock for the blind. And at first glance, they feel impossible to solve or very difficult. And so the goal is we wanted to go kind of cherry pick some of the best coaches on Leland and have them teach 90-minute workshops with like drills and homework so that you can have all of the skills you need to be successful in the PM recruiting process. So here's generally the 7 sessions we would be covering. The goal here is to make it as easy and effective and affordable for you. If you were to do this all with one-on-one coaching, it would likely be very expensive. And in creating a group of people, you can divide across the cost of it across many people. So here's what it includes. It's 12 hours of live instruction, 6 mock interviews, custom drills, 30-minute mock interview with the top coach, coaching discounts, access to Leland Plus, Q&A, and then a network of other people applying to the PM application. We believe we're providing like $2,600 of value, or at least that's what it costs to do each line item separately. But we're doing a discount where you can buy it for $699. And again, one person who has registered will also get the bootcamp entry for free today. And we'll be announcing who won the entry later in the session. So if you have not entered, you can enter. And if you don't win it, you can still get the $500 discount code that is available tonight. Okay, well, on that note, let's jump right back in. Christian, I wanted to hear about your experience here because you mentioned, if I heard right, you were in medical school and then you left and went to a startup. So curious, your thoughts on how can someone get their foot in the door? I know Yash already talked about side projects, but is there anything else that you would mention?
Yeah, the answer to this question is tough and a tougher job market because I know the job market right now is tough. So I think the answer is kind of, again, optimizing opportunities that you have to balance the whole thing of being not paid but also getting experience. There's preparation you're going to do, obviously, that you don't get paid yourself. I think it's really like a time allocation equation here.
This is a seminar on how to get into product management. I thought people might find it useful.
You could do, again, part-time gigs. Hopefully you can find a way to negotiate some sort of compensation for some of these. But I think it's a little bit of a numbers game early on because the more variety of experience you have early, sometimes the better when you're coming out of your undergrad or you're early in your career. So I know some of you know, like you've done multiple internships and things like that, but it really does help you be competitive, especially if you get like startups on there or even name brand or something like that. But this kind of stuff is like, again, you're gonna have recruiters looking at your resume very, very often. The hiring manager sometimes won't even get to see your resume for like 2 or 3 rounds. So really it's getting the recruiter's eyes on your resume and then getting that scan that they do to be something that makes you stand out and be of value. So, again, it's the pay component and the time allotment component. That's the kind of individual stuff you need to work out. But it's all about like getting that output and stuff. So it's like getting the experience, making sure the experience is worthy and like kind of a wealth of experience for you. But also,
Yeah,
it's again
you're
tying
right,
into that,
Margaritas. You're right about that.
sort of a name brand or something that will stand out again to a recruiter, where the work is just really easy to assess that you did. It was valuable to the company, and yeah, I would go from there. I would really create it again like it's almost like a mini bucket of opportunities. If your big bucket's going to be like I'm going to be a PM proper at big tech, let's say. You kind of have this mini bucket maybe before you get there and kind of in the interim and kind of let that mini bucket cook and have like these kind of components in there just so you can kind of scale up while you're scaling up for kind of the big move. So yeah, that's how I'd kind of suggest that. And just keep in mind, again, the people that will be looking at your resume at first probably aren't the most technical. And they're probably not going to be direct, let's say, to the hiring manager. So.
Yeah, that's great. Yash, something you wanted to add? Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great. I want to add too that I think that people, with a lot of my coaches, there's kind of this like, I don't know, almost like oh my god, product people are like people that walk on water, like gods. Like product management, my experience of it's really not that difficult, and it's also an amalgam of so many different things that other roles can provide. And I think that one thing I'd add on to Christian's point, which I think is great, is to leverage the cover letter for this, right? And tell a story of how your experiences map to what a product manager does. So we share those like buckets of those skills of like the core things that PM does. So like, for example, when I was a strategy consultant talking about creating my own product role. As a consultant, it was my job to create structured inquiry out of ambiguous questions, a lot like user research. Here's an example of how I did that. Right? So like leverage your experiences and then actually like do the work for the recruiter or the interviewer to say like, here's how my experiences fit into this thing that a PM needs to do. And then you can do it on the resume, you can do it in the cover letter, and you should also be doing it in the call.
Yeah, that's so great. I think so much hope comes in that, like, yes, product it takes so many different skills, and those can be built and demonstrated in so many places. And so it's really figuring out what does a PM do, and what am I doing now that is product work, and how can I show that in the right way? Really great thoughts from both of you. Okay, we're running really low on time, but I'd love to actually hear from all three panelists if there's like 30 seconds to a minute and a half thoughts here. Most common mistakes you see as you've worked with people in the recruiting process and how that can be avoided. Melody, why don't we start with you and then we can do Christian and Yash.
Yeah, I think I kind of mentioned this in the earlier discussion, basically like not mentioning impact of the work, whether it's your product work or your contribution to the team, and try to talk about impact in a way that's measurable and specific. Because like fast pace as a startup could be like shipping product every 2 days versus every month is considered pretty vast at Google or Meta, right? So it's just a different context. So be mindful for the context. Maybe adding on top of that at the resume stage is if you actually worked on a side project or like startups, don't assume that the recruiter actually understands what the startup is. So I actually really like when I during hiring, like when I look at resumes, if you have like a little one-liner about what this company does or what product did you own, just one-liner. That first of all showcase how you can summarize summarize very concisely what the product does, right? Secondly, it provides such a critical context for you to understand the bullet points after that. So that's like I would say a must do for anyone who's like not coming from a big brand or well-known product background.
Great, love it. Really, really good thoughts. Okay, Christian, take it away.
Yeah, if we're linking the job hunting and recruiting process together, which I kind of assume, I would say that the biggest mistake I probably see is candidates will over optimize on breadth. Like they'll just kind of disperse all these applications around, and then kind of throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks. I think that's like a percentage, let's say, of where you should spend your time. But I find that with a lot of candidates, they're almost spending the majority of the time just churning and like chugging out applications. And I suggest that maybe, rather than something like 50 to 70%, maybe that should be like 10 to 20. And the reason why is because I think that goal optimization is good. So let's say you want to work in fintech or something, and you're like, okay, so my top companies, let's say just for example, Coinbase, Stripe, right? And there's a lot of devotion you can spend just around your top group of companies, but then you even have like, let's say like a tranche or a group below that that's to say like, well, if I don't get into those top choices, then I have these choices. But as you see here, if you make these like groups, it's not all about like just optimizing for the top group. It's about you can optimize for this group, okay, and then your secondary group, and then your tertiary group. Now you kind of have like inflows where you can like reach out to current product people, or reach out to current cross-functional, or maybe even get in touch with like recruiting teams if you are more diligent and focused, as opposed to just saying like, I want to work for Microsoft, and I'm just gonna disperse all my applications around. So I just feel like the concentration of your time should be on like really working multi-directions around a handful of companies, and then like the next handful, rather than just like application sources.
Yeah, that's like the first thing I always harp on with my clients. Like, the spray and pray just doesn't work in an AI world, because like there's just too many applications going around, and it's so hard. Like you really do have to kind of like build a relationship with the industry or the companies you're excited about. Great. Okay, Yash, take it away.
Yeah, Melody and Christian loved what you both said. Yeah, I think the two things I would add here are assuming that you have to have been a PM to get a product job. Or have technical background. The best product manager I ever worked with studied Romance languages in college and worked on a mental health therapy tech product, like zero direct relationship. So I think that one of the biggest mistakes I see is people having the mindset, coming in with the mindset that they can't do this. They absolutely can't. Product management is about problem solving, influence, and leadership, and that starts right now. And so I would say that's really the biggest thing one of the biggest things I see. And the second thing is kind of building on what Melody said. Make the case, tell the story very transparently and directly about why you have the skills to be a product manager. This is how I got my first product job. It was basically by saying, I've done everything a product manager does, I just haven't had the title. And by the end of my interview process, the hiring manager was like, oh yeah, you could be a PM. Maybe you can even be a senior PM right now. And we kind of fast tracked that. And he's like, yeah, you just need the title. That's kind of the gold standard, right? Is to demonstrate why you can do everything that happens in this job, which you can have really from a variety of experiences. And that's all you really need is the title.
That's so great. I love that example of you've done everything a PM does, you just haven't had the title. Really, really great thought. Okay, well, unfortunately, we're very low on time. Same thing. Let's just do like 30-second blitz answer from everyone. Same order. Melody, we'll start with you. But final advice to people, and this can be very tactical advice or more high level of like it's hard and just stick with it. Anything you want the audience of like 250 or so people to know.
I think building a career is not a linear process. You have to either and iterate from it and iterate from your experience, test things out, try it out, and pivot, right? So just understand a lot of the things that might have happened in actual job search is not a reflection of who you truly are or who you can truly become. It is a reflection of the information that's being presented, the opportunity, and the last question could also be asked for the hiring managers. What are the common mistakes hiring managers make? Is to take too much of these like signals on paper, but ignore true talent. So believe in yourself. Understand it's an iterative process. Have the growth mindset. You will be finding a career that you're really passionate about.
That's so great. Thank you. Yeah, really appreciate it. Okay, Christian, take it away.
Yeah, I would say harness your intrinsic motivation. You're going to need it. The job market is tough. I'm just saying some truths. Harness your resources, the resources you have. Obviously, Leland's a great resource. That's why we're here. But utilize all resources. Think of it this way too. If you're going to create products for people, if you're going to create frameworks, if you're going to create requirements documents, if you're going to work cross-functionally, kind of think of yourself that way. So, you're getting paid to do all those things and kind of stuff. That's why I say harness your intrinsic motivation. Do all that for yourself. Think of yourself as like a business of one. And your job is to kind of work for yourself right now and find out like how to best get into this. And if you can, just kind of do that visual exercise, like imagine that you have a deliverable or a set of deliverables. And I think it kind of changes kind of the way you're looking at this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'd say keep at it like that, and stay true to it.
That's great. Love it. Okay, Yash, bring us home.
Yeah, the only things I would add are just to echo what Christian said, that this is a hard job market, and that there's like a level of mental fitness that's really required, I think, to weather the storm, and that it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So ask for help, right? Don't allow yourself to suffer in just by yourself. We're all here to help, and there's so many other resources that exist to help too, both free and paid. And I really want to spread some encouragement to everybody. Before I got a product management job, I didn't think I could get one, right? And it just sort of happened. It was a referral. The second one was a referral. And just keep putting yourself out there. I think Brian Chester's advice is really good here, that the people that win they're not in it necessarily to win. They stay in the game. They just keep showing up every single day and staying in the game. And so think of this like that, from the advice from one of the most successful founders ever. Craft the game that you're playing as, how do I just continue to stay in the game?
So great. Okay, well, thank you so much for your thoughts. Before we wrap up, just want to announce the PM Bootcamp winner is Lillian Tan. I'll drop it in the chat. Oh, great. Thanks, Amanda. So the Leland team will reach out to you, and you'll get access.
Congratulations to Lillian Tan.
Feel free to use the discount code that you received when you registered for the giveaway, or attend more events in the future. And then more than anything, we had so many questions in the chat, many of which we couldn't get to. If you want to reach out to any of these coaches, you can, and get more personalized feedback. So feel free to scan the QR codes. Amanda's also dropped the different links in the chat. So you can reach out to them. Their specific advice, as valuable as their generic advice has been, I promise their specific advice is much better as someone who has done coaching with some of these coaches. And then if you have any questions and are interested, you can schedule time with the Leland team. Okay, well, if you haven't already, leave some love in the chat for our different panelists, and thank you everyone for joining today.
Thank you, everyone.
Recording.
Well, I want to thank Leland for making a guest appearance in today's podcast. I hope some of you guys found that valuable. It's teaching you how to break into product management. And they had some product managers in there. Hopefully they gave you some useful advice for anybody who might find that helpful. Now I'm going to go back to turning the volume up here and get right back into it. Used to play, old Call of Duties, but I have to admit I haven't in a while. Played Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops. Haven't played those in years. Just kind of bored of them to admit. I know you play the most recent Call of Duty, which is good, but I don't know, they don't really speak to me anymore. They also take up a lot of room on my hard drive, which I'm careful at this point. Yeah, my Call of Duty days are mostly behind me, I have to admit.
I can help you repair your vehicle! Objective Echo is lost.
sorry to let you down, margaritas, but I don't really have a Call of Duty appetite anymore.
Надо атаковать эту цель.
Hi, margaritas. Thanks for stopping by.
Вражеские зенитные видны.
Sorry that I don't play my Call of Duty anymore. It was fun while it lasted. I could play Modern Warfare 3, but it takes like 10 minutes to find a game. Alright, but have a good night anyway. Yep. You fried emoji that I like. You. I like.
Just taking control of objective Echo.
Оружие! Вражеский пулеметчик!
The enemy has taken over objective Delta.
Grenade could not have been better placed. One man. Got a ring.
Вот вам ваша медицинская помощь. Хватит пакет, возьми!
Guy had a unique angle on me, which I wasn't expecting.
Вот тебе место!
Вражеский вертолет! Встречалы. Атаковать эту цель! Атакуйте эту цель! Атаковать эту цель! Acquisition vehicle! Обнаружен, так, вражеский.
медпакет, возьми!
Like, whose stupid fucking tree is this that it's falling on me? My stupid teammate arrives miraculously completely ruins my line of sight. Are you serious? Terrible. It's the worst team I've ever been. Like, I'm in the middle of killing this guy. My teammate drives behind me and knocks down this tree, and I can't see shit. Whose stupid idea was that? My god. I really cannot.
Вот тебе, медпакет!
The worst team ever been on. No, this-
Обнаружен вражеский солдат!
You.
Вообще-то вправо без желания.
Вражеского солдата!
Advise. Now objective Bravo.
Let's go. That's cool. And I get quick scopes. Amazing game. These teammates are beyond worthless. Good god. Good god. Terrible. Gotta get out.
Обнаружен.
Control objective Bravo.
Can't see Jack.
Я обездвижен!
Cool. Look how balanced these teams are. I think these level 100 guys would do a little better, but it looks like this guy doesn't have his driver's license. That was a really weird start to the game.
Обнаружена вражеская вертушка! Обнаружена вражеская вертушка! Objective Echo stabilized. Атакуйте эту цель! Listen up, men! We get control! Listen up! Objective Foxtrot neutralized. We've taken Objective Foxtrot.
Обнаружен! Вражеский джет! Обороняйте эту цель! Вражеский вертолет виден! Вражеский джет вижу!
We now control Objective.
Вижу! Вражеский джет!
Can't be corner will get shot.
Вижу! Вражеский вертолет!
Now these guys are getting here so fast.
We've taken Objective Echo.
Love to know how these guys are getting here so fast.
Вижу! Вражеского солдата! Обнаружен вражеского солдата!
guys are spawning here?
Обнаружен вражеский солдат!
Like, what are you just camping? Well, to its credit, this gun's large magazine saved me there. No, I just love that. That's fucking hilarious. Look at this kid's ragdoll. Oh. Okay. It's the power of the F-2000. It's twice as fast as every other gun in the game, apparently. And that what? He one-shot quick-scoped me. This game is trash. Okay. You should have died twice. Fuck you. Fuck this burning fucking car that I can't fucking see anything. Fuck this game. This game is trash. Fuck quickscopes. Fucking quickscopes me right in the mouth. Fuck this game. Absolute trash. These guys keep spawning here like they own the place.
Вижу вражеского солдата!
Get through the thing. House in the building at Echo. They're on the upper levels as well as the rooftop. Knock the building down, that would help.
Terminal under our control. Обороните эту цель сразу же! Enemy light armor has been spotted just east of where you're at.
You know how to get up to the top of the buildings that you over there? Legitimately no way up there besides just parachuting out of a plane or something. Sorry, I would spend my time, but I don't know where. How do you get up there? If we could otherwise just collapse the buildings, that would be awesome.
Be advised, objective Echo has been neutralized.
Yep. He sniped me from the boat? That is amazing. Holy crap. TV guided missile. Wow. Let's watch TV on that boat. Pretty cool. This kid with the helicopter just gets the... It's an RPG snipe. Throw back to my Call of Duty days before I started streaming anyway. Single. How do we just get to the back sites? Like I'm done wasting my time. Let's spawn in a buggy or something. Freaking. Hey. Wow, what a vehicle. If anybody could help me out today, that'd be great. Appreciate some help today. This guy come from? Completely dominated even worse than what just happened? Fuck this game. out of spawn. I can't go to A. Can't go to D. I'm just stuck here. Let's see if there's no fun.
Вижу вражеский ЛАВ.
Вижу вражеский ЛВ.
Fucking cool. Complete joke.
Enemy AT has been spotted 2 north of where you're at.
That was just boring. I don't know where the fun was supposed to be in that. We just got completely destroyed by the other team.
I need you to attack this objective. Pick up your medkit.
Alpha is down on control.
Here's your medkit. Pick it up. Here's your med. Go get it.
Like, what just fucking happened? Who threw that grenade? What the fuck was that? What is this fucking game? Just
Objective Charlie has been neutralized.
What is that? I'm shooting one tap bullet. The bullets just go into the freaking strat, dude.
Grenade, out!
Objective Alpha has been lost.
I'm too late on every single one of these guys. I thought there was a shotgun guy still in. The third guy spawned in a purple dude. That's so cool.
Neutralized Objective Delta.
For the Hornets. Oh, they were there. Right there, everywhere except there. That's cool. No.
There's your med kit.
We neutralized Objective Alpha.
I feel like I've gotten cheated out of like 5 kills this game. Like, I'm fucking wrecking your shit with this fucking piece of shit AEK. This gun fucking sucks. Oh my god. I feel like I've gotten shit out of 20 kills right now. Fuck this gun. Oh my lord. I can't. This fucking gun in this game is fucking terrible.
There's your med kit. Go get it.
These kids, like, they keep spawning freaking. Why I get 3 hit markers. It feels like I should be killing them, and it just never kills them. What the problem is? Really, I don't get it.
Objective Bravo has been neutralized.
Completely beyond me.
We've just taken Objective Bravo.
I feel like I'm lighting people up, wrecking their shit, and then this gun just gets hit markers. I can't kill anybody. I don't know what the problem is. Really beyond me.
Here's your med
Eyes
kit.
on
Pick it
hostile
up.
vehicle. Due east of your current position.
Don't
We
get it.
have neutralized Objective Charlie.
Out there, it killed him almost immediately. I don't know what the difference is.
Anyone got any ammo?
We have taken Objective Charlie. Objective Delta has been neutralized.
Like right there, kill that guy instantly. Other scenarios, I don't know why it takes forever. All I get is hit markers.
We now control Objective Delta.
Right there. feels like, I should have killed him, but no. Nothing but hit markers. How do I get over there?
Check the terminal block. We now control objective Charlie. We've lost objective Bravo. We no longer control objective Bravo.
Hey, this guy feels really well.
Objective Echo has been neutralized.
Fuck this game. Here's this game. Absolute trash.
I advise on the enemy machine gunner to report your location.
Like, I don't like that about this game. Like, I tell it to spawn me at C and D, and then it just spawns me so far away from there. I don't get it.
Objective Alpha has been neutralized.
Like, why don't you actually spawn me on C so that I can do something? It just spawns me like in between C and D, which is almost useless. Understand that. Okay. Rip. Fucking somebody crashed the servers. Thanks, guys. Alright, thanks for watching the stream, everybody. Servers aren't gonna get that better. In like 4 weeks of this, literally the second I start getting deployed, some hooligans start shutting down these servers. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody. This broadcast was aided with the help of Leland for teaching you how to be a project manager. If you want to rewatch that first hour or so of the stream. So, there you go. The stream is also live on YouTube, so it'll be uploaded to my YouTube channel for future reference if anybody finds value in that. Have a good one.